Hello, friends. How are you? Look it's another Friday night, and we are going to be creating with the gel plate tonight. And I played a little, and it's going to be a lot of fun. And I'm happy to see everybody here. Hello, Irene, and Teresa, and Sandy, and Susie. Hi, Julie. Happy birthday, Natalie D'Souza. Very happy that you're here, friend, and happy birthday. So we will make sure, because now you guys told me what I need to do. Oh, I think it's different when I'm on StreamYard, because I had issues with the YouTubes, but we figured it out. So hello, friends. How are we? Happy Friday night. We've had so much fun already this week doing the trees, which here I have it here. I created my little tag. Well, I use the pocket board, and I'm going to do it for all of them. So I love that. So that is tag number 1 from Wednesday nights, drawing trees, right? Learning to doodle and watercolor with distress. And then I stayed up very, very late and made that little pocket. And then I made this one too, from the Charlie Brown-ish tree. So for every live, whatever we create, I'm going to make 2 pieces that are going to go in my little kind of, not really 12 days, but 12 memories of Christmas kind of thing. I'll show you. So they're going to go in the little sleigh, and it fits. And then I'm going to put tags inside. So I haven't finished it, but I did something. So tags are going to go inside. So I absolutely am loving this. So tonight we are going to be playing with a gel plate. So it is a plate that's made out of like a gelatin-like substance that you can pull prints on. So you put patterns down with a very thin layer of acrylic paint. You can stamp into it and use anything that you can create a pattern. And then you put a sheet of paper down and you pull the print. And let me show you some of the things. These are just my cleanup ones, so they're still wet. These ones, I didn't even pull off the plate. This was just cleaning my stencil. So some of you guys that don't have a gel plate, you could literally paint through your stencil with a brayer. And then when you have a very thin layer of paint on the stencil, you mist it with water, and it's almost like making a printing press, and then it's gold. So it's got, it's very shiny, but that's one of them. This one from cleaning my stencils. It's not even from the gel plate. So I have a whole whack from cleaning my stencils, and they're still very wet, because I'll show you that tonight when we go to clean off of the stencils, the magic we can make. But let me pull my little playtime. I can't show you my favorite right at the beginning. I can't do that, but I will in a second. It is my favorite thing. I teach classes with the gel plate. It is one of those things, as I ease you into the world of mixed media and doing art for everyone. This is one of those things that I feel is super rewarding, and is one of those like, it's magic. Every time you pull a print and you kind of understand how to do it and work your way through how much paint is too much, too little, magic happens. So it's pretty awesome. Hello, Natalie. I don't know if you were here when I said happy birthday. Happy birthday, my sweet friend. We had a lot of birthdays in the end of November and early December. It's very exciting that my whole design team all had birthdays right around the same time. So I love it. I love mixed media. I love all aspects of it. All aspects of it. Just a second. I have things popping up here. Let me take that off. I love the possibility. I love the freedom. I love the discovery. And I am not hard on myself. It doesn't turn out. It's a little bit of time and a piece of paper. And I'm sure I learned something along the way. So for me, I love it. And I will convince you to do it with me the longer you stick around. So just be prepared for that. So when I was printing, I just did some basic prints to start, and then kind of cleaning up my plate and got some beautiful prints. And then during the process. Look at this layered snowflake. Just cleaning the print that we're going to layer on tonight when I keep playing. And then magic starts to happen. And I'm in love with this print. Can you guys see that? So absolutely love this. Is going to make a beautiful base for a card, for a tag. For me, it's going to be for my little, what am I making? The little tag thing that I'm doing. So just to give you an idea, and even really simple ones that can be a layer. And I print both sides so I can decide which one I want to use. So tonight, there's not a lot of hoopla around going live tonight. So I'm sure we'll get a lot of you guys watching after the fact when I share what we make tonight, because I was busy doing stuff with my family tonight. I was living some life. I got some life in there, which doesn't happen a lot around here. So I didn't get to really go on all of my social media platforms and tell everybody about tonight. So if you're here, I'm excited to have you here. You're kind of in the know. There will be another giveaway posted tonight. It's all ready to go as soon as I get off of the live tonight. It's ready to go. It is going to be a bunch of my stencils and some glaze. So it's a good one. It's going to be like a Vicky Boutin prize pack. Art wedge, just some basics for mixed media and stencils that you can use on your gel plate. And I'm going to keep it super simple tonight. The paint colors I'm going to use, and I'll flip the camera in a second, are literally just some blues and an aqua and a white. Like literally, that's my palette. I think you should keep it very monochromatic, but with your white for lifting your ghost prints. I have one brayer. I have a whole bunch. Here's the biggest thing. When you get ready to go, you need a ton of paper beside you. And it could literally be something you steal out of your printer. Okay, have a couple harder or heavier weight cards, and then the rest just out of your printer. I'm going to use like maybe 2 or 3 stencils. And it is the Snowflake stencil from Evergreen and Holly. It's here. I just washed them. So the Evergreen and Holly Snowflake. You want something, do you see how that has open space, but it's a repeated pattern? But you want this open space so you can see the color, okay? So if you guys have this stencil, this is pretty much the main workhorse for tonight. Then I got one that just looks like kind of polka dots or snow. And I think this is from Warm Wishes, I believe. I could be lying, but I think it was last year's Christmas one. And then even just this Tim Holtz, because see how it's kind of that idea too? Just a repeated pattern. Now, I'm not going to lie. This one doesn't have a ton of open space. So it can be a little trickier. So I'm going to flip the camera right away. Any questions before we get started? You need lots of these too. Lots of paper towels. And I reuse them and wash them out and use them again. This is going to be so much fun tonight and relaxing. It is a great opportunity. Sorry, I'm grabbing stuff. So when I flip the camera, you're not like, oh my gosh, she's just got a pigsty going on, because I kind of do. But I'm going to flip the camera. I have my 8x10 gel plate, but you could use whatever size you have. If you don't have a gel plate, just grab a piece of acrylic and kind of mess around doing some fake prints and using the stencils, printing off the stencils, which you'll see. What size do I prefer? All of them. I have all of them. I will use the large. I have like a 12x12-ish one. I have a larger one than that. I have the small 5x7. Here's my thought. Even if you're a card maker, you have limitations on the little gel plates. So they're fun, but you have a limitation to what you can do on those. So I'm always like, buy a bigger one. You can always make yourself a little stencil to make 5x7 working area on the gel plate. The other thing is a bigger gel plate. You can cover the whole sheet and cut out what you need. You can use bigger stencils, bigger patterns. So I would really say, if you love it, I'd probably have 2. I love the 8x10. And why? Because I can use 8.5x11 paper. So for me, if you're going to start somewhere and you're only going to buy one, that would be it. If you want to make larger backgrounds for canvases or for scrapbook, then you need the larger one as well. But if you were going to start with one size, I would do the 8x10. But that's personal preference. But if we're friends and we're shopping, I'd be like 8x10. Yep, love it. It's perfect. See, Dawn is a card maker, a fabulous card maker. And she says 8x10 is her favorite. I will see a lot of people who do smaller scale printing will buy the little ones. And I'm like, they're fun, but do you have little tiny stencils and all the little, it's working in mini. So there's a place for it. I'd use it, but it's not a workhorse for me. So for classes, I always do the 8x10. So if you end up joining, there is if you want the basics of this, after we do this, because I'm not going into deep lessons tonight. I have a full-on class on vickybooten.com that is a gel plate class, which is a great warm-up start to gel plate printing. And in the new year will be a level 2 and probably a level 3 for printmaking, because I do love this and I really feel like you guys are ready now to start transitioning to a little bit more mixed media with me. So it's going to be fun. Also, you can cut paper afterwards to fit your needs. That's what I'm saying. Make a big sheet and cut what you want out of it. And a lot of times beautiful things happen just in the corner. Just in the corner. Some magic happens. And you're like, oh, totally going to use that. The rest I'm going to die cut out of for stamping and die cut, or tear it up or sew on it. It's just amazing stuff. So hi, Charlotte. How are you? Hi from Indiana. Jumping into play 8x10 is your favorite too. I agree. Hello, friends. Any questions? Did I miss anything? Also, oh, I read already Helene's. So I have 8.5 by 11 sheets tonight. I cut some 8.5 by 11 in half along the 11 inch. So 5.5 by 8.5. I have strips. I have a whole bunch of scraps, because that's what's kind of magic, is just picking up your extra paint and pattern to use for anything. For stamping is beautiful background. It's magical. It's majestical. Hello, Danielle. How are you? So let's flip the camera. I can talk to you. You don't have to look at me. So let's do it. I always have to watch because I almost ended broadcast instead of flipping the camera. So I think this is good. You can see everything. Riley's like, why are you putting paint on your Sweet Rush layout instructions? And I went, you know what, dude? It's because it's what I had and it's how I roll. You know, that's really, when you're playing with this stuff, grab what you have. If you don't have all the things I'm using tonight, find an alternative. Or just hang out and watch, and then you can make a educated decision if gel plate's for you and if you want to buy one. Because if you said, what do I need to get started with gel plate printing? Gel plate, some decent acrylic paints, a couple of brayers, and you're off to the races. And then anything you can make a pattern with. So stencils, like I told you before, stamps and stencils, what do you buy, or how many are enough? Whatever makes you happy. It really is. Oh, let me turn my light because I had it on my face. And then let's just, so you guys can see this corner. That's better. So there's a question. I was like, any questions before we get started? Do you just store it in the original package? I don't want to ruin mine. It's not recommended, but I store it between some sheets of printer paper, like Rich is here. I have something to show you. He's very excited about it. So I'll show you in a minute. You're not supposed to store it in there. I have stored it in there, but you need to take the plastic sheets off of it. And I'll tell you why. If you leave air pockets on the gel plate, they will permanently leave a pattern on your gel plate. So, you don't want to do that. So I usually store it with some sheets of printer paper. But if you sign up for my gel plate class, I explain all of those things. And I want to just get to the work tonight. So there won't be deep lessons in gel plate printing. There's a class if you want to take that, which people who are here, did you enjoy the gel plate class? Did you learn lots? So, and let's say hello to Kari. Kari is here tonight, and she had her freaking hip replaced on Thursday, which was yesterday. And she is here hanging out with us. She is just the Energizer Bunny. I love it. So like I said, I printed lots of really pretty things, like different papers. I buy anything that I can print on. I will try it. So I have a sheet of vellum tonight we're going to give a try. I have like thinner paper, just cheap cardstock. It's wet because this is the sheet that I use for cleaning my stencil. Okay, so I put a ton of water on there, which I will show you later. Oh, and the other thing I'm going to use tonight is some VB gold glaze. It's here somewhere, and this jar is almost empty. Anything that you have that is metallic, you can use a paint, texture paste, give it a try. Totally going to do that, right? What was the gel plate class is not a lot of money. I think $50, and it's a 4 weeks of lessons I did with 2 or I don't know. I think it's a minimum of 8 lessons in there, right, guys? It's certainly, and that's Canadian, right? So if you're in the US, that's take 30% off of that. It is not expensive for the amount of content that you get there. And if you're new to gel plate or even have struggled a little bit with it, I think it's a good one. Everyone who took it seemed to enjoy it. So, but look, it's my class. What am I going to tell you, right? That is crap. I think it was good. You can go and read the kind of little syllabus thing for it and just ask the people here. I think that's always your best thing, right? Is to talk to the people who took it. So, like, really, look how pretty these are. So we're going to get right into it tonight. I have literally a whole stack of paper that we're going to just start printing. Right? If you're just hanging out, doing other things, cleaning, making Christmas cards, whatever you're doing is totally perfect for tonight. If you don't want to play along right now, you just want to watch, perfect. Got my gel plate. It's not even clean. Oops. This tape will not work on my craft mat. But the idea is there. So I put my gel plate on an 8.5 by 11. Because if I really wanted to perfectly line up the page underneath it, I can use that as a guide. I have a sheet of paper beside me for cleaning my brayer off. I like the brayers that are in the plastic handle with the rubber base are my favorite. The ones that are on the wire handle, I find bounce a lot. You get a lot of lines in your paint. But again, personal preference. You might have one and you love it. I don't care for those. I have a couple. I use them. I have probably like 50 brayers, different sizes, widths, types. Love it, right? I'm going to use Liquitex paint because I have every color of it. I buy it and restock when it's on sale. It is a very nice opacity. You don't need much, and it goes a very long way with gel plate printing. And I am going with a very kind of basic, cold, wintry palette. Light blue permanent, cerulean blue, bright aqua green, and titanium white. And then, like I said, the Vicky Bouton gold glaze for a little sparkle. I have a makeup sponge. So if I want to specifically add paint or pigment through my stencil, I can do that. I have a couple of palette knives if I need them. And then just some stencils, friends. So anything that is just kind of a small repeating pattern to create some patterns. So I have the star one that I found hanging around. The one that kind of is polka dotty snowflakes. And this is going to be the workhorse tonight. Is this one that is snowflakes. Just to keep it simple. I really don't want you to grab every stencil you own. Grab 3 or 4 stencils with varying scale and stick to that. Grab 3 or 4 colors of paint and a white, stick to that. That's all we want tonight. Let's keep it super simple. We don't need to pull everything we own out. I am doing some beautiful things with this limited color palette. I grabbed, in case I want to use it as well, some stamps. So just some basic Tim stamps. This is the new one, right? I think wasn't this the exclusive through Stampers Anonymous? No. Simon Says Stamps. It is Stampers Anonymous stamp, but I think so. The snowflakes are kind of fun. We'll see. Might use them, might not. And let's do the things. Make sure you have some paper towels handy. Make sure you have lots of paper to print. And let's start. Let's get going, right? To start, I'm going to print just some solid color ones. So I have just a kind of some backgrounds if I want to layer other colors on top. Biggest thing when you're doing this is less is more. You don't need a lot of paint. So watch and watch. You might need to take off your little paint nubbins, right? Sometimes there's like hearts in that. So if I was a better person, I would clean up after myself. I'm not that person. So when you start, I'm going to put just one little squirt of paint. Look at literally a little squirt of paint. And then I'm going to start carrying that around my gel plate. You do not need a lot. It is almost like an onion skin of paint. Okay. Remember, I'm doing smaller scale, so I'm totally okay. I might try to pick up that pattern in the bottom. We'll see if I can. And that's it. Don't care if there's lines in it or anything. Just pull my little cart over here with all my paper. And I'm just going to pull a print. That's it. Yeah, and then you know what, Heather? You don't have to do snow. This is all going in my Christmas album, right? So, and the other thing is, because it's wet here, turn your brayer over after you clean it, because if you don't, it will glue to the paper, okay? And I'm okay with this. It doesn't have to be perfect. I literally just want a layer of a turquoise. And now I'm going to go on, don't have to clean anything. And now I'll put on a layer of the light blue permanent. And we're literally just going to pull some very simple, solid-ish color prints. My plate needs to be clean in this corner. So it's just going to be adding some nice texture. But I'm not going to be able to lift that pattern. So you'll see that kind of little fake daisy thing that's going on is going to just keep showing up. So we have different weights of paper. Don't even care. Just pull in some solids, okay? What color is which one? The one I just put down was cerulean. Oh, pardon me, light blue permanent. And then this one was bright aqua green. Obviously, I like it a lot. Okay. Use the heel of your hand. Let's see. Maybe we can lift this, but I think it's too thick. Not going to be able to lift that. So what's going to happen? Oh, a little bit of it came up. Oh, so satisfying. Do you see how little paint I'm using? If you are not, when you pull these, they should be stuck to your gel plate. If they pull off or squish around when you're rubbing, way too much paint. And I'd say I watch people that are teaching gel plate and showing gel plate all the time. And I'm like, that person has way too much paint on their plate. The purpose is that you're pulling it off of, like there should be hardly anything left on your gel plate. For if your gel plate's super clean, nothing. It should pull everything. If when you're done, you still have gobs of paint, way too much paint. And that is the prettiest. Sorry, I was reading Angie's comment. That is the biggest thing with gel plate. My plate is full of bubbles. Flip it over and put it on the other side. What were you storing it with, Danielle? If there was air in whatever you stored it in, it will put in air bubbles on your plate. And let me do some research to see maybe if you clean it with the baby oil, you could recondition it and see. Clean it to start with hand sanitizer, and then maybe you could condition it with some baby oil and you might be able to fix it. But if the bubbles are big enough, they may never come out. You might have to replace your gel plate, right? You left it in the packaging. Yeah, there were air bubbles probably in the plastic, and now they'll permanently be on there. So we'll do some research and see if we can find ways to get that off. But that's what ends up happening with the gel plates. You can't leave any kind of air in those plastic sheets, because it will permanently, like the gel plate fills into the air pocket, and now you've created the permanent texture on here, right? put a weight on it, the bubbles will squeeze out. You can try it, right? You can try it. But I have some that I have to flip and I can only use the one side. So I'm going to put 2 colors on here. I don't even care if it's perfectly covered. Totally okay with that, because this is just a layer and we're going to put other art on top of it, right? So whatever you get is perfect. It's what you meant to have. Pull another one. See, clean it, like I said, right? Clean it. And then see, but you can find any information. This is not a tool that is brand new. It's been around forever, right? So just do a little research. But yeah, when you store it in the plastic, that's what can happen. Even sometimes storing it between. Oh, I love that. Okay, so good warm up. Just get some funky dunky little backgrounds and then we're going to start building. So like I said, I have some sheets in the what weight is your paper. This one I think is like a 110, but I have all kinds. I have printer paper here. There's a whole bunch of stuff, right? I have some vellum. We're going to try some vellum tonight because some of these I want to just die cut some snowflakes out of, right? Some I'm going to use as a background. So let's grab some thinner, right? Just printer paper. And then let's put some color down and put some pattern in it. Okay. So there's 2 different ways we can do this, right? We can lift the pattern out or we can add the pattern. So let's just throw a little bit of paint on here, the light blue. Again, I'm not filling the whole plate because I don't really need all of it. Well, I guess I can, because let's find my stencils. And we'll just go in with this one. I'm going to lay it down right in the middle and take that sheet of paper. And I'm going to lift through my stencil. So what's going to show up on this sheet of paper is the paint around the stencil and the pattern inside the stencil. They're little lines, so you just got to get your finger into it a little bit. You might not get a perfect snowflake pattern, but let's see what happens. It's pretty though, right? It's pretty. And now let's add a second color through the stencil. So I'm going to put that on top. And on the outside a little bit on the one side. Okay. Flip my, and I'm going to print right on here again. I'm not trying to line it up or anything because I'm going to cut out of this page. Let's see. So I pulled and lifted some of the color here. So now we have a hint of green. And when we lift this stencil, we also will have some of that blue that was underneath. Let's take the back of one of these pages, or actually I'm going to just lay it right on top. Let's see what we can lift. And now we will, ooh, look how pretty. So we got some of the pattern on there. Now this, as it dries, we're going to create a pattern out of, okay? Okay. So you could, I'm going to just keep using the stencil and we'll clean it at the end. But you could have go give it a rinse in the sink. You could wipe it with a baby wipe. But because we're not going to be working for a long time tonight, I'm totally okay with, I'm just going to keep using that stencil. So I'm going to add some more pattern on here. So I'm going to put the polka dot down, and now would be a good chance we can put a little of the gold glaze through it, right? There's almost nothing left in this container, but I'm just going to kind of pull it through. And then we will pounce with the makeup sponge just to make sure it's not too thick and it is in those little circles. We can lift some of that on our sheet that we have, just so we don't have big gobs of, and it's a fun little pattern. And then we'll lift off. We're going to let that tack up a bit, and it will create a little bit of a pattern with what we already had. I am going to wipe this one. So I just have my wipe here, my paper towel, and my Mr. bottle. Thank you. My sweater's new. Now, like, there's water on here, right? You don't have to put this a paper towel. You could totally take one of your sheets of paper, anything that you have, put it on there. I don't have a lot of work surface, so I'm hoping you guys can see. I'll do this so you're going to see my belly too. And I could lift that with my brayer and pick some of that pattern up, right? As I clean the stencil off. Why waste that? So these are the things I was saying that if you don't have a gel plate, you can print off of your dirty stencils. So I'm going to do the other side that has that bit of green on there, and I'm going to brayer that too. Because look at the green from the dirty brayer is transferring, and then some of those prints, because I could stamp on that and have a little bit of scrap for die cuts. And instead of just wiping it off on a paper towel, now I have my own art that I made, right? Is that helpful, friends? So I wouldn't waste anything. Wouldn't waste any of it. And now I'll just give it a clean. Like I said, I'm not doing a deep clean. It's just so there's no chunks on the stencil if I want to use it again. Here we go. And then, like I said, friends, there will be a giveaway again on my Facebook artist page tonight. There will be giveaways every Facebook Live that I do, which is going to be every Friday and Wednesday. Let's do this. You don't need to look at my belly. Are we good here? I'm not getting any comments, so just want to make sure that I am live. Somebody throw a comment on here. Just want to make sure. Jill, the colors that I'm using are light blue permanent, cerulean blue hue. Oh, good. It's working. Bright aqua green. And whoops. And titanium white. So all I'm waiting for this to happen here is I want these to be kind of dry. So it's been sitting for a bit. I'm impatient. So I'm going to lift a bunch of that off. So now let's see what happens when we lift this with some white. So this is all dry, right? Or pretty dry. So a little tiny bit of white paint is what's needed. And we're going to do a ghost print. So we're going to lift this pattern up. I know that's a lot of paint. So now I'm going to take an 8.5 by 11. And I'm going to pull this print. Because some of these I can die cut snowflakes out of. Some of these are going to be backgrounds. Okay, very thin layer of paint. Otherwise, you will not be able to lift. And I'm going to have to give my brayer a wipe because there's a lot of texture on that. If it's not thin, it will not lift. So when you're doing a ghost print, which means everything you're lifting is dry and you're putting white paint down to lift everything off your plate. If you have too much paint on here, you aren't going to lift anything other than white paint. So you need to play around with this and make sure, you saw it's almost onion skin layer of paint. And then you want to rub all your edges. You can go on and brayer to add pressure. Use the heel of your palm. Oops. And then I always will check before I lift and just make sure I'm getting some of that off there. So the edges of my plate are rather dirty, but look at it, adds to the charm. So that's the print from the stencil that was put down in paint. And then the gold dots are on here. So I could totally die cut some snowflakes out of this, right? Love that. So let's look at some of the ones I did before coming on here tonight. I want to talk to you about some stuff. Do we have questions as we go, friends? Where did you put them, Vicky? You were excited and you shared them with all your friends. Oh, here behind me. So with this one, it's 2 layers. So the first was when I kind of lifted off of the, I'll show you putting the paint on the plate. And then I pulled some navy snowflakes. So it's just 2 impressions on there. Again, just cleaning through the dirty plate. Now, what about those magical ones, right? Like Riley was down here playing with me. And I was like, oh, Riley, this is a favorite. And I will show you. Like this was a favorite. Look at that. So let's talk about some of these things. And it's just literally layering. And that's why I don't want you to have a ton of stuff tonight. Just keep it super simple with very basic color pattern and color palette. And you can do addition, reduction. So addition is when I put a pattern on, right? I could stamp on the background with a stamp. I can do reduction where I put the paint down and lift it with a clean stamp. I can put it through a stencil. I can lift it with a stencil. So it's just a literally of anything that you do on here, pull the print, right? If you add something, pull the print. So now some of these lighter backgrounds that I did, we can totally go on. Let's go with a darker color. Let's put some of the 2 ways we're going to do this. Let's go back in and I'm going to put my stencil down on that background. And I'm going to go in with the cerulean blue. Yeah, Sonia, go back and read through the comments in here. You're not the only one who has bubbles on there. And I think it was Catherine. Somebody posted how to fix the bubbles in your gel plate. It's from storage and air pockets. So you're going to clean it and then you just can put pressure on it. There's probably 10 different ways that you could clean that up or fix that. It's just air pockets got in there because this is soft, right? The gel plate fills into the air pockets. So it's going to be kind of like adding pressure and then you'll be able to fix it up. So remember the one we just put in the blue? I'm going to now just take half of that and lift some of that off. I'm not rubbing too hard. I'm just going to lift some of that paint off. Look how pretty is that, right? And now I'm going to lift this stencil because I should have as well some pretty blue pattern on here, right? I could leave this to dry. We could layer, or let's see what happens when I put it on the other side. So we have, right, a positive and negative application. Oh, I love it. Okay. But look, there's still, look at that ghost print on here. This paint is dry now. So I'm going to put some patterns on and then we can lift it, right? So we'll just keep kind of adding on that background. I'm not going to clean it. And then our final thing can be pulling a ghost print. So let's go in and I'm going to add some turquoise stars in here. So we'll do the same thing, put a little paint down, brayer it through. Or you could pounce this, right, with your makeup sponge. Because you won't fill in all the little crevices with the brayer. It just won't go through the stencil. So you can push the paint in to those areas as well, so that you get a perfectly formed star. Right, so you could do this off on your sheet and load the paint on to the makeup sponge and put it through. And if your question was, well, Vicki, why are you using the makeup sponge? It's so I can have full stars and not big giant gobs of paint. Like I'm actually lifting some of that paint off. Clean my brayer. Right, and I'll flip it so it doesn't glue to the paper. And I could also, maybe I don't want all those stars, so let's lift some of them off on the edge of that paper. And then it just creates like a little pattern, right? And then let's lift the stencil. And we'll have all these little turquoise stars. And then we also will have the snowflake hint that's behind there. And I'm going to show you, because this, now we're going to let this dry. You could lift some of those if you wanted to. Let's lift some on a page that you can see it on. I'm just going to do it maybe even on the white. No, here, I have some smaller ones. Let's see on the vellum. I don't want all of them. I just want to lift some. Look at that, friends. Look at that. I love it. So, and that will make them dry a little faster. Any scraps I have laying around here, I might put some on a corner of this. And then what ends up happening is it dries faster, and I can keep moving through what I'm doing here. I know, the gel plate is the best. And we forget because there's a lot of cleanup and crap that goes with the gel plate. So sometimes we're like, yeah, I don't feel like doing it. Let's put a couple snowflakes down now in, watch. Yeah, I'll just add a few. I'm just going to add a couple gold through here, okay? So let's pounce them on. Remember, I was saying you don't have to brayer it. You can pounce. So I'll take a little bit of my glaze. Just going to add it on my little sheet here because I don't need much. And I'm going to load up my, I'm a cleaner as I go. I'm going to load up my makeup sponge. And now I can randomly add where I want the little gold dots. Okay. So sorry, friends. This is like a Vicki concentrating kind of night. Right? Just put a little bit through there. Not everywhere. It's just a hint of gold dots. It's drying up on me, so we'll see. There might not be hardly any, but we'll see. Oh, there are. I'm loving that. My glaze is older, so it's drying out a little bit. Everything's a piece of art, right? some more. Vicky's trying to push it. It's not going to go. Yes, the clean off sheets we often use. Some of the prettiest art can be on your cleanup stuff, paper towels and all the rest of it. Yeah, we don't throw anything away. Okay, let's see. Love it. Okay. We're just going to let that dry for a second. I'm going to go give these a wash. But I want to show you. There are things, right? Let's just take, well, I'm going to move this. So we're just letting this dry, okay? I'm just going to let this dry so we can put white on it and pull that print. And now I'm going to show you, instead of going and putting these sheets in the sink and scrubbing it, let's do some transfer art. Okay. So 2 sheets of just cheaper cardstock. Okay. What are we going to do? We're going to wet them because you don't want to glue these to your page. You want to transfer the art. So we are going to put some water on here, and then we're going to lay it on that sheet. We're going to sandwich it with the wet. We're going to brayer the heck out of it. Okay, that one moved. So look just got a hint because there's no paint on the back of this. The paint's all on the front. And then look at that beautifulness. Look at that. Can you guys see that? How pretty. I wish you really could see. And that's literally just, I'm cleaning the gel plates. Like I'm cleaning the stencils. I will go soak that in water because it's not wet enough. We might get some more off of it if we let that water sit and marinate. So let's set that aside. I'm going to let it sit and see if we can't pull more of that paint, but we can definitely get some of this. So I'm not going to pull a new sheet. I'm going to put it between what we have. And we're going to try it again. Right? More pressure that you add, more you get to transfer. And then these papers print, and you can do paper collage and tons of wonderful things. So let's see, what did we get on this one? Just a little hint came through because remember, all the paint is on the other side of the stencil. So not very much because it started to dry, but I still can see a little bit of pattern, right? So let's see. So if you did this a little quicker, right, while your stencils are still pretty damp, the paint hasn't started to set up. But again, we're going to cheat and see if we let it marinate, if we can get some more off. But let's see with this gold one. Can we transfer any of this gold? Oh yeah, that's coming off there. You need a lot of water. If you don't, guess what's going to happen? You're going to glue it to your page and it's just going to tear because the mediums will literally, oh my gosh, that is going to be, when this dries, freaking gorgeous. Look at that, freaking gorgeous. Let's add some more of that gold on this one too because it's freaking gorgeous. More water, more water. Where do we want it? Right about there. Pressure, pressure. There we go. See what we get. Not much. Already got it off. It's dry. But there's a hint. Oh, look at this. And it's soaking wet. Beautifulness is going to come off that. So now let's see if we can get any more off of these stencils that we really put a lot of water on and see if we can transfer any more of that paint. And I'm not even going to sandwich this. I'm just going to press it and see. Oh, I'm getting it. There's stuff coming off of that. Look at that. Now this is just a cheap piece of printer paper. So you got to be careful. It's delicate when it's wet. But look at that. Oh, just throw it aside. It's what I do. Just whatever. Move on to the next one. This would not work on vellum. Okay. Let's do it again. I need it to transfer into something, right? So it needs to be pretty darn wet. Do we want a sandwich? Why not? Ooh, like just what came off my brayer is art. I love it. Sorry, it's off screen, but I'm just brayering the heck out of it, right? Let's see. Do you see that? I love that. So look how many prints we're getting off that one dirty stencil. And now I'm going to stop. I'm going to go give my stencil a wipe. And we're going to print that one. We're going to do after that one more print. And then I don't feel like we have to do a ton tonight. You could sit and gel plate, my friends, for freaking ever. You could. So just walk into the sink for a second. Let me give these stencils a quick clean. It's what I do. Doesn't take much. I just have a little scrubber brush. Just one sec. So here's what I want to say to you, too. You saw the water I added on those stencils. If I had more time and I was sitting here, I would have let that water sit and that paint would have transferred, right? That paint would have transferred. So like if you're sitting at home and you're doing this, let that beautiful paint covered stencil mist it with water and let it just sit and let that paint start to loosen up, and then do the prints I'm showing you, right? Then do the prints where you're putting the pressure with a brayer, because it's beautiful art and it's not gel plate printing. You're printing off of a plastic stencil, and it's a whole different like side class to tonight. Is why would you waste it and wipe it down the sink or on a paper towel? Look what we just made there. Like, look what we just made there. That will be beautiful backgrounds. Like this one I love because I would sew the heck out of that. But you know, when you're using like just printer paper and it's wet, it's tricky. It's tricky. Okay. But look at those ones that we printed. So pretty. And when it dries, it's going to be beautiful. And you could do things, right? Like we could get crazy and you could make that very gently, right? And then now take our heat gun and I'll show you what that's going to look like. Whoops. Sorry. I got crazy with my arm there and knocked my Christmas sign down. So for the giveaways, Stacy, You have 2 chances to win, or you can have an extra entry. When this live is done on YouTube, you can go in the regular YouTube section and leave a comment. But the main draw will be on my Facebook artist page. You would go in there and leave a comment on the posts that I'm going to be posting. There will be a number of them this week. And next week, right up to the 23rd, I'm giving a ton of things away. Right? So it's the Vicky Bouton artist page. It is not the group community page. You need to find the post and post under it. Okay? And as soon as I'm done tonight, I will post that. Cindy, I put the white paint on because, well, we'll talk about it right now. Perfect teachable moment, okay? Is I'm going to show you. See, as the moisture comes out, look how pretty these are. And I could totally put this through my Mink after and flatten these out. But this is my own pattern paper. If you're like, what would I do with this? It's the same thing you do with pattern paper. If you have these handy, you could use it for a base on a card. You could use it as a mat. You could stamp on it. You could die cut out of it. I love these through my Cricut or my Silhouette. So they're going to take a little while to dry. And you guys don't want to literally watch paint dry. So you don't have to, Rita, but that is where my hugest community is, on Facebook. So I offer this through YouTube and Facebook. You can leave a comment, but you won't see the whole post and what the giveaway is unless you're on Facebook, because I know some people don't like it. They don't do Facebook, but really for me as a creative, I would say my biggest following is, at this point anyway, is on Facebook, right? But that's why I put it up here that you could leave a comment for a second chance to win, or at least for one entry, right? So these are just cleaning the dirty stencils. So now let's go back. Remember, we were waiting for this to dry, and now let's talk about why would I use white to lift this. Well, I want to use white to lift this because it's lighter than everything that's on this gel plate. It's the same color as the paper I'm printing on. So it's almost like fake. I'm faking it, right? Because when I pull this on a sheet of white with white paint, it's like I went like this, boop, and pulled the print. But what the magic is with ghost prints, which are pulling all of that dry paint and all that kind of ghost imprint that's left on here, is that it's way more control, and I can layer and layer and layer. Let's show you something quick. I have this Tim Holtz stamp. Let's stamp some images onto this, and then we'll let that dry, and that'll be part of the ghost print. So I didn't have a lot of the darker color on here. So what do I want to put? I'm going to do this one. Okay. I'm just going to use it with my hand. You can do whatever you want. And I am going to find my cleanup sheet. Yes, thank you. With the definitely, if you're watching on Facebook, please, if you're so inclined, make sure that you've liked and followed the artist page. If you're watching on YouTube, please make sure that you are subscribed and following my YouTube page. And if you can give a thumbs up to the video, would be much appreciated. So look at, I just brayered some paint, and now I'm going to stamp it onto my gel plate. And there wasn't very much paint on there, so let's do another one. Yeah, and like I have friends that are on Facebook and they just don't use their real name, right? Because a lot will go just to be part of the group or to take the classes online, but don't want to really interact. So see, ooh, this is going to be pretty. Now, don't forget, we're putting acrylic paint on here. It is not going to have the same effect, or it will be kind of really rough and messy, but I'm okay with that. I want to see what happens if I just lightly mist and transfer that paint again. Maybe here. So we'll see what happens. Okay. I'm going to clean my stamp and we're going to pull this print. Yeah, but you can totally enter it here, but not in this comment section now. It's when the video, the live is finished. Just put a comment in the regular comment section. And there was a Tim Holtz giveaway on Wednesday that is posted. All of the draws are going to be up until the 27th. And then I am going to draw and post on Facebook. And if I can contact you, I will contact you there. And maybe I'll put the winners on each YouTube video so that you guys, I'm just cleaning my brayer off, right? We're just giving that a second to dry. That wet one is going to would take a long time to dry because I put so much moisture in it with misting it. Because when this is dry, now we can transfer it, right? You don't need a Christmas song for the next one, Stacy. Just leave a comment and we'll just go from there. Okay. So these are a little wet, and remember, I have no patience. I don't want you guys to have to sit and watch it dry. So I'm just going to pick some of that up. It's not too bad. Not too bad. So this has to be completely dry when I put the white on. Otherwise, I'm going to make like blue, right? The white will pick it up and move the paint around, and I'll also lose my pattern. So with the ghost print, we're going to use white because we're pulling it up on a sheet of white paper. Also, it needs to be lighter than whatever the colors are on here, right? If I went in with black, you're not going to see much. I could go in with yellow, but that's what the background's going to be. For this, I want everything that's on the plate to look like I pulled it on a white sheet of paper. So you go in with a very light amount of white paint. Again, it has to be a very thin layer. Like this right now is too much paint. So that's why you'll watch me work the paint so that I can pull the print. So when you're doing a ghost print, you literally want a very thin layer. Like, look at, I can already see a lot of that pattern through my page. So now everything that was kind of sitting on that plate that didn't get cleaned off, in essence, will pick up, right? In essence, we're going to pick it up. And then I want to do some of those smaller ones on my 5.5 by 8.5 paper that I cut. We're going to pick some of those up. Okay. So I let it sit there so that paint, the white paint acts like the glue to transfer your pattern, right? Oh, so pretty. Right. So you can see the hint of the snowflakes from the first layer, the green we added, the gold, and then those stamped images. Right? Very pretty. Let's go in and do a darker one now. Let's go in and do these ones. I want to play with that and try to help you guys kind of replicate that. Okay. So now this one's going to be much darker because what we're going to do is our first layer is going to be the cerulean blue. And then we're going to roll this out And we will put the stencil right in that blue. Okay. So let's put our snowflake down in the blue. I'm going to lift that now because I don't want the blue centers. I want to lift some of that. There's a lot of paint on here because I'm trying to get as much left on there as possible. So I'm going to go in with a thinner paper, maybe even, and lift out some of that blue, and we'll put in a second color. Okay, we'll add a second color on there. Oh, how pretty is that, right? And now let's go in and we'll put some of the turquoisey color, which is called bright aqua green. Getting the blue off, and I'm just going to move that into the open snowflakes that we just removed some of the pigment. I'm not going to remove all of it, but I'm going to take some of those turquoisey ones out. Okay, with some of our smaller pieces of paper. Let's just take a couple of them out on this side. And then we can put some gold in there too. How pretty is that, right? So let's go in, and now we'll pounce the gold in. I'm going to put it right on here though, just so I have more pigment. And we can add a little hint of gold in those spots. Pounce it in. Because that's awfully thick, right? If we just left that, but I might lift some of that too. Right? We'll lift some of that too. Ooh, so cool. And they're almost textural because there was so much gold in there. So that's actually cool. We'll leave that alone so it just dries thick like that. Okay, and set that aside. I might even brayer some of that. And I'm going to now lift this. So when we pull this now, I'm going to try pulling it. I think it's wet enough. Let's try it. Let's lift that. Because we could end up getting 2 prints out of that one, right? So I'm going to go in there, and really you would go in Hi. Sorry, friends. Can you hear me now? Yeah, that has happened to us before. Is when you have the Amber Alerts, right? Is it just shuts it all down. So I'm back. And let's see what we got when we pull this. Oh my goodness, friends, look at that. Isn't that cool? So let's do something else. I want to see if I put that back on and we let it dry. Can we transfer any of this paint back on here? I'm going to try. Let's see. That was my palette knife full of gold. Glaze just fell on the floor. Can we put any of that back on? I don't know. Ooh, we did. It's going to be good. Just watch. Oops. So the paint was still wet, right? On the stencil. So I put it back on after we pulled this one, right? So after we pulled this one, I put this back on. And we're going to go back and do what we just did again. Brayer it. Clean off. I just don't want a ton of paint on my brayer. Just want a hint of that green. And then let's pop some gold in. Too. So I'm just kind of rubbing it in. I'm finding that is working a little better. Just got to get lots on the sponge. Okay, gonna lift a little bit of that paint. I am running out of paper, right? Lift a little bit of that. Oh, love it. Lift this off. And then we're gonna pull this as a ghost print, but I want some of that turquoise off there. Oh my goodness, look at that. Okay, so we're letting that dry for a second and we'll pull that with wet paint. I'm going to clean my stencil between two pages again because this is going to make beautiful magic. Okay, so let's move that. I have to grab paper. I've used everything. Craziness tonight. Craziness. Is anyone playing along tonight? Is anyone gel plate printing with me? You can use whatever you want, right? I love acrylic paint because I like what I get after. But you can use distress inks, you can use printing ink, you can use tons of different things, right? Whatever makes you happy, go for it. No rules, right? But let's see what we're going to get off of this now. Print it on one side. And I'm going to also sandwich some kind of like onion skin paper. This is like a Japanese printing paper. And I want to see what happens with that one too. So like I said, instead of wasting this and washing it down the sink, let's see what we can pick up from it. And sometimes it's not enough. Oh, look at that. Look at that, through the paper, created like a linen. And then we also have the print on the linen-y paper. Seriously. Oh, it's so beautiful. I'm not ready to completely lift, so let's print that. Look at that. And let's see what we got underneath the blue, because that was all that dark blue. Oh my goodness, my friends. Quickly. Going to print what's remaining here on this side. And I'm out of water in my okay. Even just that. Just the hints around the edges. Let's see what we got with that second one. Oh my goodness. Seriously, this you would have wiped all down your sink or on a paper towel. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? You can do it on anything, any kind of paper that you have. And remember what we talk about. You ask the questions, try it. Try it. Let's see what happens. And remember I said, because, right, we have all the time in the world. What happens if I put some more water on here and try to loosen up some of the edges of this? Brayer almost on the floor. I want to loosen up the edges of that. And did I run out of paper again? I don't know. I could have. Oh. I'm going to take it on here. I'm going to put it there. I'll flip it. I'm going to wet this side again. I want to throw some of that gold on there because why not? Because it's all just sitting here on this mat. Let's see what happens now when we add some water onto that. Add super pressure with the brayer. And let's sandwich another sheet. I'm going to do it right there on that one. Like the longer that water sits, if the paint's completely dry, it's not going to do anything. You would have to do this when you still have some kind of hint of the paint. Does that make sense? Like the paint has to be slightly wet. You wouldn't get any kind of transfer if the paint. Oh, I love that. And because there's texture from that glaze, I'm going to totally leave that to dry. Actually, I'm a liar. I want it to bleed out a little bit. So let's do that and then leave it to dry. So the gold is going to kind of bleed into the background. And I'll set it to dry and I'll show you what it looks like when it's done. But this is what I want. All that dirty edge of the stencils. Magic. It's magic. Any questions, friends? Because now I'm just going to clean up a bit and we're going to pull that print that's sitting over here on the plate, right? And I'm looking at the screen right now. So it is magic. I'm telling you, I gel plate print. And look at, I only have a couple different colors of paint here. 3 stencils, not a whole, I don't need a whole bucket of them. The most thing I need is tons of paper. So the magic, I can put it somewhere, right? I will add in whoever wins the prize from tonight. I'll put some of these prints will go in the prize giveaway because I have so many. I'm never going to use them all. And then we'll go through the ones that we have left here. Will it be safe? It's acrylic paint. I would think so. And none of my photos, I don't use original photos. I print them all anyway. So, right now that most of our photos aren't emulsion based, I'm not as concerned with the acidity of things because we print it off our phone. I print at home, right? Even sending them out a lot of times now, they don't even do them. It's not even emulsion based printing. So what I do maybe with like my grandmother's wedding photo, well, I would never use the original nowadays anyway. Just a second in case you guys can't hear me. It's too bad I don't have like a film crew here and I'm not like in a studio like Rachel Ray. And I could talk to you guys like you would as you're cleaning up on TV, but I don't, right? I don't. Your mom's doing mixed media. I love that. I bet, does she love it? What a good story. I love that. Right? So, and you will be, like I just got my fingernails done. I'm going to have to do a deep clean tonight because they have gold and blue paint, but totally okay with that, right? Because it feels good. But do clean your, like, don't leave your glaze and stuff on your palette knives because you won't get that off. Okay. Some stuff you'd be okay. That is not one of them. So I'm going to show you all the prints after, but I want to pull this one. Look at this pretty one that we have left. Okay. So the question was, do I have to use white? You don't. So I'm getting up and I'm going to find another color. Let's see what happens if I go in with green and pull this print. So it's dry, right? It's a ghost print. Let's put, this is called Brilliant Yellow Green. And I'm going to pull a ghost print, but instead of white, we'll pull it with green because it's light enough, right? The color has to be light enough that I can pick up what's underneath it. I could pull it with matte medium, right? If you really want it to be clear, you could pull it with the Vicki Boutin acrylic matte medium, or if you have a Ranger one, or maybe you have the one from Golden, you could print with that as well. Okay, I know I grabbed more paper. Let's see what we get with this one. Now, look at, I just broke my rules because I said I'm only using what's here, but this is just as a demo so you guys can see. So it would have to be light enough, but here's my other thing. Pull it in whatever color you want and see what happens. Can you leave it in the sink with soap? Yes, but you don't need the soap. Water and a scrub brush is enough, right? My nails are dipped, but it is, I did the, just a French this time, but it is the dip. Okay, are you ready for the reveal? You guys are going to love this. Because by doing it with a color, it gives you a whole, now you look at it and go, okay, I can see that the color has to be lighter because all the paint that shows up on top is the top layer. The light green is actually the back layer. Doesn't that make sense? So this is very pretty, right? I love that too. Okay, one more. One more. Let's do one more. I want to go with the dark again because I'm really trying. I want you guys to see kind of this effect. All right. Because really, really digging that. So let's go in with our cerulean. It's a lot of paint, Vicki. So we'll just take it off. Put my snowflakes on. I'm loving my sweater tonight, but I have to say, it's got these like lamp sleeves. Not good for painting, Vicki Booten. Not good for painting. So let's pick up, right? We want some of that blue out of there so we can put another color in. So we're going to pick out some of that blue. Pretty. Let's go in with a lime green because I have it here anyway. A little bit of lime green. That's too much paint, Vicki. Got to clean up my paint after. Okay, I'm gonna pick up a few of those. The green a little bit, right? And then what other colors? Want to add maybe some of the light blue. Let's do this one in here. A little bit of light blue. You can pounce it. And then I'm going to put a little gold in there. Where is it? There it is. Can you clean with a baby wipe? Yes. Do you mean the gel plate? Yes. You can clean with a baby wipe. I'll show you. And if you really want to clean the plate, with hand sanitizer. Okay. But yes, I will clean my gel plate with a baby wipe. Just make sure you got the baby wipes that don't get lots of lint. Do you know what I'm talking about? When you use some of the baby wipes and tons of lint come off of them, that will transfer onto your gel plate. So just kind of keep the, oop, I didn't mean to do that. I pushed it under the stencil. Okay. So yeah, you totally can, Wendy. And that's what I was saying. I really think it's worth your while, especially if you're enjoying this and you're like, this is totally my cup of tea. Go and sign up for the access only kind of thing to the gel plate class that I did. I think that you will find that you're going to want to play along when I do the next one. It will be worth your while to take it. So I'm just going to clean up a little bit of that, right? And now let's lift. So we still have that blue underneath and all that pattern. So I want to lift some of it, but leave some of it. Okay. So see here, I want to lift a little bit of it, but leave some of it and then pull it. So I'm going to do 2 prints off of this. I have a little card. Let's do some on another sheet of vellum. Let's see what this looks like on vellum. Okay. So I'm going to lift a little bit with vellum. I hardly touched it. Hardly touched it, okay? Let's do with, I have another sheet of vellum or some of that rice paper. Let's see what happens with some of the rice paper. Okay, I don't want to take too much of the paint off, so, and now I'm pulling this print, but I wanted it not to be solid blue. So let's go in now and pull that print. Yes, you can still take the first gel plate class, Wendy. It is on, it's all on Facebook though. The whole class is on Facebook. All my classes are, for the majority of the stuff. The videos will be on YouTube. But yes, it's on VickyBooten.com and you'll see the gel plate class. Let's see, what do we get? Seriously, friends, how pretty is this? I love it. So there's all this pretty. Let's do, this is our last print we're going to do. And I'm going to be okay to just wash my stencil now. I don't have to print off of it or anything, but I'm going to add, let's add this. Okay. So I'm going to put that on there and then let's go in with the green. Okay. We're going to pull that through the stencil. And you might need your sponge because remember I said this one, this stencil is very fine detail. So if you don't pounce it in there, it's not going to go in through that, the opening. So we will push into the smaller areas, not everywhere. And some of it had big gobs of paint. So this will help that. Just pouncing it in. And this one is going to be a ghost print. Okay, we're going to lift it. But I will, because this is pretty. Let's find one of your prints that you want to add a little extra pattern to. So I might do that right on the bottom. Let's see. No, it's dry. Just take it off from the pouncing. So now I have this pretty little lime pattern. Where is the snowflake stencil? Because I'll go in there with a little gold and the light blue. Okay, gold and the light blue. Gold. Where are you? There it is. What green? I know this green is magic. Every time I use this, you guys love it. Brilliant yellow green. It is a phenomenal. It's a beautiful color. Okay. So let's do some of these. Now, remember, my gold glaze is drying out. Like this is old. Look at. So if I had a new one, it would be way easier. And really, I could get up and get it, but I'm not gonna. We'll just make work with what we have, right? So I added a couple of gold dots on here. I love it already. Let's just do a couple up top. Brush it, Vicky. Remember, when it's too dry, you can't pounce. I'm just lifting all the color off. So let's do that. Oh, this is going to be so pretty, friends. Some of the color leaked underneath this area of the stencil. So let's see what happens. I'll just see that extra bits of paint from the green. And now I'm going to use the same stencil and I want to put some of the light blue. Okay. I'll pounce it through in the middle area maybe. Okay, so this is going to be our last. I'm going to pull this on white. I'm just going to throw these in the sink. I won't wash them right now because you guys don't have to sit here while I wash stencils. So I'll just put water on them and they'll be good to clean in a minute. Wash my hand. I'm really glad I just got my nails done, but it will all wash off. Okay, good. And we're going to print this green one while that dries. I don't want to waste that pattern or that stencil. So let's just do it on one we already did. There is so much magic going on here tonight. So what do you guys think? Any questions? What are you thinking of this? It's pretty, isn't it? It's pretty. It's fun. It is a completely satisfying, I have to say. I find this very satisfying. So let's do it on here, right? Let's print that on here. So this is the wet one we're going to do, right? So let's see. Is the stencil too dry? I don't know. We'll see if I can get some of that to transfer. Will be worth it. Put some more. And you got to watch, because if you don't put enough water down, do you know you could glue your stencil to the background? Your stencil could glue because the paint will stick, right? Oh, do you see that? Oh my gosh. Oh my God. Okay, I'm going to do one more on here because there's a lot of paint going on. And that just was freaking amazeballs what just happened there right in front of your eyes. Let's find where we want to put it. I'm really digging this. How about a hint of that green on this side? So we'll put like that and see if I can get any of that to transfer now. A little bit, not much because I was scared because I like it. Let's see what we got. So not much came off there, but we did get. When I dry these, because that's what we're going to do next, I'm going to grab my Mink and I'm going to put all these prints through the Mink. Because it will dry them and flatten them very quickly. And we can see, oops, I almost knocked my light down. See how magical that is. Let's do this baby though. That is why if you're new here and you go on to vickyboutin.com on my website in my shop, that is why I'm always adding new stencils, always ordering new stencils, because to me, it is the gift that just keeps on giving. Practicing and playing with new mediums because it's magical. Let's see. Let's lift it with white. We're lifting it with white. I could do a two-tone color, but I just want white. Tonight, let's just keep it clean and we don't have to get into, it's not playtime in the sense that I just threw paint somewhere. I don't know where it went. Some of you guys, when you start doing this, will pull out the whole rainbow and you'll want to put the whole rainbow on your one piece of art. Do you know what I'm talking about? Are you one of those ones who are out there putting your hand up? And I look at it and go, look, we kept this very simple tonight. Our palette was very simple. and look at the magic that's happening. And I find that there is more opportunity to learn if you keep your pattern, your palette simple, and just kind of figure out what's going on here. You don't have like one chance to do this where you have to use every color in your stash of paint. So for me, sometimes I'm like, just keep it simple the first time you're doing it. Especially if you're going to start layering pattern, you're going to want all different colors, right? If you put all the colors on every piece of art, then you have just mud. My mink didn't get fixed. I ordered a new one. Julie, I can't be without a mink. I use it, right, for a lot of things beyond the foiling. So I ordered a new one. And you're going to tell, because when it comes out here, it's purple for some reason. I don't know why. But when I asked at American Crafts, they're like, the manufacturer of it sends them in this weird plastic color. They change the color of the plastic. So can you use a laminator? Sure you can. Just make sure that you put like deli paper or something between it. So if the paint is thick, when you heat it, you don't glue it to the plastic sleeve or transfer it anywhere else. So when I put them through, I'm going to put it between parchment paper. Oh my goodness, friends. So pretty. And that's just keep cleaning my plate off, right? Just extra stuff that was on my plate. So let's talk about, do I have a hand sand? I don't know if this one will work, but I will try it. It's a foam hand sanitizer. But let's see if, look at that. Look at, there you go. That just cleaned. You saw all the boogers on my plate? There you go. Right off. Cleaned right up. Okay. Right off there. Take a wipe. Okay. And you can totally just wipe it with your baby wipe. But you see, baby wipe's not going to clean the plate. Right? These boogers, like little paint skin. But hand sanitizer, and the gel one is even better than what I just look at. I just threw random one that I had here, the foam one, but the gel sanitizer is better. And then sometimes, just to make sure we're good, I will press my gel plate. I don't know. I've had this for years. If you treat them well. The other thing is, if you have a pet, do not let your cat near your gel plate. Pet hair will cut your gel plate. Right? You know what those hairs are like if you get it in your eye or anything. They're like little blades, right? So see, you can just clean those edges off. I know people who never clean their gel plate, but I like to have a really nice clean plate sometimes, so I will clean the plate, right? But that's it. And then I will usually store it with a piece of paper on top. You can get a gel plate tin, like a tin that you can put your plate in. But that's it. I'm going to move this. Let's get rid of the paints. The messy part is done for now. So I'm going to get rid of all of this. And I'm going to get my laminator because I want you to see what these prints will look like. Those wet ones that we did. I don't have to do the gel plates. They're all fine. They're perfect the way they are. But I do need to put those wet ones through. And I want you to see. So just let me, I need to make some real estate on my table. So just moving my garbage and I'll just move this back. Okay. Very good. Very good. Best thing ever, I'm telling you. So we'll get rid of this and we can talk. Oh my goodness. People need to get a life. Okay. Do alcohol inks in the hand sanitizer doesn't damage the gel plate? That's how they tell you to clean it, right? Is with that. And then you can condition your gel plate if you're concerned with baby oil, but then you have to clean it really well. Okay, baby oil is what you would condition your gel plate with because it is made from like a petroleum jelly kind of dealio. So you could put baby oil on it. So let me just move my paints and then let's look at the beautiful art that we made. Did anyone, I asked, was anybody printing with me tonight? Who made prints? Did you make any that are your absolute favorite, like you love? Did you have any that you feel were like fails? You printed along, Pamela? I love it. Hello, Annabelle. Jerry, how are you? And I might have probably missed a lot of questions tonight, right? As I was going through. Like, look at this stuff, friends. It is gorgeous. I love, look at that one. That was the print on this Japanese writing paper. Some of these were just our cleaning sheets. But look at what we did. Very, very fun. I love that one. Look at the contrast with the blue and the greeny turquoisey color. Tons and tons of prints. Some I love and I would use as a background. Some I'm going to show you will work beautifully to die cut out of. So let me just move what I'm doing here. There's more. Look at them all. Oh, that has to dry because that has textured gold. I absolutely love that these look like old wallpaper or damaged like art that got wet and you're only left with a hint of it. It is so fun. Even these sheets that were just kind of little cleanup sheets. Look at it. We could decoupage this and it would be lovely. And because it's acrylic paint, you're not going to lose by putting the decoupage medium, right? Like you would with Distress ink. So there's a little bit more permanency to it. Oh, so these are all wet. So that's what I was saying. Instead of heating it with my heat gun, if we put it through the mink, it will, oh, and look at the vellum. Look at that vellum one. And you could use the front of it or the hint of the back. Can you imagine sewing this onto a card and then putting snowflakes on it in gold? Love it. So we made some pretty stuff. So is anybody out there who was hanging out? Could you hang out with me or you just randomly found me tonight, but you've never heard of gel plate printing or a gel plate? Is there anybody out there who this is completely new to? You're like, I don't even know what she's talking about. And like, look at, so say you had a frame and you took any of these patterns and you quieted it down. Look at that. Can you imagine with black or a navy or even a metallic? And then you layer that and you have contained funk. It's not, some of you might be looking at it and going, ooh, that's a lot. It's kind of putting me over the edge. But when you put it in something or cut something out of it, will be beautiful. Let me grab my mink. And then just make sure everything doesn't crash down around me. I have a new Alex drawer You guys have those from IKEA, the Alex drawer that's been sitting here that needs to be built by Sidecar, needs to help me. But Sidecar hasn't done it. So we need to get on him about that. It's totally new to you, Cynthia. I love it. I love it. And like I said, the longer you hang out with me, so you're going to notice my mink. What color is this? Would you say that's white? I would say it's not. Let me turn it. Just because of where my plug is. So I'm going to unplug my laptop for a second. Try not to unplug the lights or blow up the house. I think we're okay. So I'm going to let this heat up. So the mink is for foiling, but I love it for drying and flattening some of my projects. Could you imagine if we gold foiled on top of these? It'd be beautiful. It's purple, right? I'm like, I would much prefer it in a white, like my old one that bit the dust. But it was good to me for a very long time. It just is finished now. So let's see if I can find my it's parchment paper. So I buy it in a pack like this that is already smaller. And it's great for making art too. And when it's ready to go, it's going to go green. And then you'll see let's take one. Which one can I put through first? And you will see what I'm talking about, why the mink. Some of these are really wet. So you really would need it to dry first. If you put it through the mink now, it's too wet. It would have to go through a couple of times. So let's find one that just has a little bit of moisture to it. Yeah, it's completely different, this machine, right? Baking paper, yeah, that's what a parchment is, right? It's the stuff you would line your cookie sheet with. And I bought this on Amazon, and that's exactly what it is for my cookie sheets. But I use it in my studio. I have to go around here, friends, because to have it on camera is not necessarily the easiest thing. Right? So now it will go through here, and you could increase or decrease the heat, but it is pressure with hot rollers. The parchment paper I bought was on Amazon. Yeah, the parchment paper was on Amazon. It's extra strong. And just search it. Search like pre-cut parchment paper. And that was part of when I did the gel plate class. Can you buy plastic carrier sheets on their own? Yes, you can. Yeah. So we'll see if this is hot enough. But why I do this is I want to flatten the art out sometimes, right? So by putting it through my mink, it will dry with the heat. Plus, it will flatten my artwork out, where the heat gun really starts to make it buckle, right? And then hopefully the parchment, if any of that gold glaze still is thick, like you'd have to be careful. If you have big chunks of gold glaze, do not put it through anything with heat, because it's going to stick. You know, it will melt again and you'll have a mess. So let's see. One time, and I might put it up to 4. But see, look what happens. I forgot to add color on the back. I should have put my parchment on the back, but it didn't wreck my sheet. But see, my sheet's all flat and my artwork is dry. So let's do another one that's really buckly. And look at that one. See, it's pretty buckly, right? So we will put it through. with 2 sheets just to protect. I only do that because I don't want paint to transfer onto the sheet. So if I'm foiling or doing different art and I need the carrier sheet, it doesn't have a whole bunch of paint on it, right? Does the Mink do similar to the one, those fancy glimmer machines? This is what it is. Oh, it's not with plates. You couldn't put plates in it with like the glimmer, whatever one that is. This is for doing foiling, is what it came out with. Heidi Swap put it out for foiling, heat foiling, but not with the plates. You need a whole different tool for that, if that makes sense, Dana Lynn. It's different. The carrier sheets, probably on Amazon, Michael's, Joanne's, scrapbook.com. Just look for the Mink. Just look for Mink accessories, MINC, Mink accessories, and you can find different sizes of it. Right? It is one of those things I have been showing you guys for years. Is I use the Mink to flatten out my mixed media. You cannot do it with acrylic based plasticky mediums. Like I couldn't go through this with a stencil and put it through here because it would melt, and then as soon as it cooled would glue everything together. So it's great for do you know the cost of a Mink? Because I could order you one, Karen. So just message me. Karen is a neighbor, so I couldn't deliver it. Like I couldn't ship these, but if she wanted one, I can get her one. So just message me and we'll talk about it. Let's see, what is this one going to look like now? Because it was awfully buckly, wasn't it? Very buckly and very wet. And look at now. It really makes your art pop. I want to find a really, really messed up one. Look at this one. Well, we can put 2 through, okay? That one. And it's very wet. See, it's very wet. I don't think you could run them through the Sizzix. Sizzix doesn't apply any pressure. This is pressure and heat. So I don't think you'll get the same results from that, if that makes sense. Even that one, look at the one we did all the wrinkly on. Let's see what happens now when we press it. If I get some, yeah, you could use a laminator. That's all the Mink is really, is a laminator, but it's the heat control on it that is, it just is a level above a laminator, but sure you could. But you can, this gets really hot and applies a ton of pressure. So yes, you could definitely use a laminator. Just make sure you have some kind of carrier sheet. Do not just put this through your laminator without having some kind of protection. Otherwise, you could totally transfer pigment to the rollers. Hi, Mama. My mummy's here. She went out. She had a hot date tonight. She never misses my lives. And I said to her, how dare you, Sheila? But yeah, so let's take a look. And now I want to talk to you about too what my plans are going to be. I want to show you a couple of things. And then would you guys like, you know, when I make the projects like this, because I'm not going to do this live right now because the lives are already so long. Do you want me to film it so that I could do like a little video? So it shows you how I finish, like use all of the art we're going to be doing this month. Would it be worth your while if I did it as like little 5-minute videos that I could speed up, but you could see exactly how I make the projects? Because I could do that. I'll just film it. It takes a little bit because I have to edit those videos. But if you want to see how, like what I will do with these and the projects I'm going to make for my little thing, I could totally do that. Look at that. Look at that magic. So all of them, they're still a little damp, but look at how nice, look how pretty that art is now. These are the sheets that we just cleaned our stencils off on. And that is beautiful, beautiful, totally smooth. This has a little bit of texture, but totally love that. They're still pretty wet. So really tomorrow when I'll leave these all out on the floor right? And as they dry, we'll put it through the laminator, the Mink, one more time, and all the buckling will be gone, and it makes the art pop. I feel like putting it through really makes the art pop. So let's show you, like, look, I freaking love this one that is on the vellum. How pretty would that be? A shaker you could make. Yeah, it totally will if you think that that is helpful. But let's find something. I will dry it and then we can die cut out of it. Now this pattern is more of a background I would use. Snow, because it's large and repeated, but you could die cut from it, but I couldn't die cut a snowflake from it, right? Because you'd lose all the detail. It'd be really hard to read what the pattern was. So I want to go in with something that's like these ones that, look at, just kind of a little bit of a random pattern. The heat is making that buckle. Did you see that? So I've got to get it off the Mink. If you don't have a Mink, what you would do is let these dry, and then you could put them under a stack of books or some scrapbook albums. So I want to show you one more thing with my die cutting machine before we wrap it up for tonight. And then I will do a video. I love this one. This is simple and clean. Look at that. Just simple and clean. How pretty will that be for a background? In your 6x8 pages for your album, you could totally use it. Look at cleanup sheet. How pretty. This I could cut out of. This I could cut out of. So I'm going to cut some elements that are then going to be added to my project that I will film so you guys see exactly how I made it. So all I'm doing is trying to pick some papers that I think that I could die cut or stamp and die cut, whatever you want to do, out of, and that's going to be the layer of texture on the back of my page. Like, look at them all. So much fun, friends. You could do a whole album page on the back of these. I have an idea. I'm going to show you something else right now. I just thought of something. So before we go, I will show you a couple of things. Let's do it with this. Okay, I'm going to turn this back on. I love this one, and I'm going to show you something. Now, I'm hoping that won't make a mess, but I think we'll be okay. Could you put the vellum through? Yes, but I would test not your most beautiful piece of art. Just test a sheet of the vellum and go lower in the heat. I don't see why you couldn't. Some of these, friends, look at that. Look at this. So beautiful. And it doesn't mean you have to use all of it. You might just cut a strip and do a border, right? Oh, I love how these turned out. Love it, love it, love it. So I'm going to show you how to make, I'm going to make a pocket out of this. I'm going to make a pocket right out of that. So we're going to do that. I do love it. And you know, here's the thing, right? I don't find the gel plate is a huge investment. It's not a lot of money, and totally worth it. It goes at the big box stores. You can use your coupon. They go on sale, right? Even if you were buying it through me or one of the stores, it's not a huge investment. And you're going to find if you love it, you're going to use it all the time. Your trees from this week look good on those backgrounds. Like, look at, I love the trees. I love the trees. This was the first. So if you're just joining me for the first time tonight, every Wednesday and Friday up until the 23rd, we're going to be doing some kind of technique. And then I'm going to make pages for that project I'm making, which is kind of like a 12 days of holiday crafting. But like I said, you could do 12 days of holiday card making from mixed media, right? Whatever you want to do, you totally could do. Yeah, you totally could use your coupons, right? Well, I'm not going to put them on the backgrounds I just made, Paula, because I did these already, right? I did 2 cards with that. Now I'll do 2 cards with what we did tonight, like 2 tags. And I'm going to make a tag base right out of this page. This is going to be the base for one of these little, I'm going to show you how I use it. Love the trees. Me too, right? With the pocket board. Yep, I have it right beside me. I love that thing, Julie. Is it dry enough? I'm going to put it through one more time. Okay, let's put it through one more time. And I'm going to use this baby and show you how I'm making the pockets for this project. Okay, so that gets to, I'll show you how I'm doing these as the base, but I'm going to make the pocket out of one of these. I think that's going to be fun. So one of my projects will be out of the full page is going to be what I create the pocket out of. Thank you, Della. It's a lot of fun. And thank you guys for staying. Like it's 10 o'clock after 10 here. And here we are. We're still at it. But like I said, I wanted to focus on the technique. And then I will do a quick video that shows how I make the project. Obviously, I can't do it for the trees one because they're done already. And I got to keep moving forward because I don't know what I was thinking to do all these extra lives right before Christmas. I will follow through, but man, I'm going to be tired, right? Yeah, you need all the things to make all the things. Okay, we're almost done. And however dry it is going to be good enough. But see, look at the moisture coming off that. Look at that steam. I don't know if you can see it. It's off screen. Thanks, Margie. Okay, good enough. So mink is coming out of the way. And now I'm going to show you out of this, we're going to make one of those pockets. And it's going to be fun, fun, fun. I'm going to try not to fall down because I'm just putting stuff on the floor around me and right. So I'm going to make another one the same size as this. Okay. So the finished size of this one was, oops, 7 1/4. And to fit in that sleigh, it needs to be no wider than, I kind of muffed it. So it should be 4 1/4 by 7 1/4, but I just scored it a little deeper so that I could get it to do what I wanted it to. So if you're not familiar with these from We Are Memory Keepers, they have a whole bunch of different pocket boards. And I have to say, I really love it because it means that I can make all different sizes of pockets. And this one it's the pocket one. So it will make the envelope with the top flap, or you can notch it. And we're going to use this. And what's really nice is it comes with the directions. I sell these in my store. I have a whole bunch of these where I can make the pockets. It shows you how to do the top notch pocket. And then the other side is the one with the flap. And then under my board, I have a bone folder. And this little packet, don't throw away, is what helps you figure out what your base sizes need to be. So you go on and you read, right? I want paper size with the flap, right? And then I'll cut it out and it gives you a whole bunch of different sizes. So I said, right, 4 1/4 by, what did I, oh, I think the size I did was 6 1/2. Yeah, this is the one I did. But the flap, I think, isn't included in that. The flap folds over. So I'm going to do 4 1/4 by 6 1/4. So that means I need a 9 by 8 1/4. 9 by 8 1/4 is the size that I need. So let's decide where I want to cut that from. 9 by 8 1/4. Okay. So it's set up on the F3. All of my pockets are going to be the same size. So I need a 9 by 8 1/4. And I'm going to decide what I want to cut that out of. And then I can use my scraps, right? So see how this is kind of all kind of wonky and unfinished? I almost want that at the top of my cut, but we'll have to see. So 8 1/4, what will, well, not bad, right? I won't lose much. So let's do it. Let's do it. Vicky. That's 8 1/4. And then I'm going to have that seam is going to be part of my art. This is really where it's all what you're going to see, right? So whatever, we'll just make it whatever. So what did we say? 9? Now I forgot already, friends. What was it? 9 by 8 1/4. And that is beautiful, that I can use for a strip somewhere else. This is called the pocket punch board, Margie. If they are not listed in my shop, I have them. I have a whole box of them because I've been cleaning. I have a whole box of them, so I will list it. I told you I have to get all the tools up, but I decided to do all these lives now. So Vicky has no time to do any of the things. Okay, so then you look at your instructions and it says, select the pocket size and style from the chart, which I did. Place the guides, which I did. They're in the F3. And then it says, position the paper under the track with the first chart measurement. So what does that mean? So if you're using this for the first time, right? The first chart measurement is whatever the first number was. So my first number was a 9. So that's what I'm going to cut out of, right? So just double check, because it's the size we're using. It's out of that length. So what I'm cutting is going to be the top of my. So you're going to line it up with these lines, these bits, and then we're going to cut a notch out of it. Okay. So when you put it on, you have this little tool with a blade, and it sits, this piece sits in the track. So it's in a track now. So I can cut this boop, little pattern, right? So like this. And look at that. Okay. And now you want to flip it because you're going to do it on the opposite side. So you flip it. And you do it on the opposite side. Put that back in the track. Very easy to use. If Vicky can do it, anybody can do it. And we're going to do the bottom too. Okay. So now we have to cut the bottom. Right. So it's flip it and cut for the corner reflected horizontally. And then you're going to flip it and repeat for the bottom corners to create a square. So it's what we're doing now. And then you flip it to do the mirrored pocket or mirrored corner, right? So flip it. Boop. And just make sure I missed that corner. So I'll just get back in there and do it again. Okay. Look it, right? So now you're going to lift your arm up. And really what you're doing now is scoring here and the tops. right? So you can put it in there and decide where would I need to do that. And see, there's score lines that you'll follow. Okay. So now it shows you, or you could do it in the well of your trimmer if you don't want to use this, but it's meant for this now, right? Is that I can put that in and I can score all of my lines with the fancy dancy tool. You'll see lines here and you put it in and make sure Vicki does it right as I'm demoing it for you. Okay. There. And then we need the sides. And then I have to, sometimes, do you ever feel like I have to figure things out, right? Like I have to play with it because I'm like, what was I supposed to do? Where was this supposed to be? But there is a well here. I don't think it goes long enough, but all I did was just put it on my trimmer then, if that makes sense with you. Because remember, I have to fake it because these can't really be the same size as how they're listed on here, because my pocket or my container is a little bit off. So I did this just to give myself a guideline, and then I went on my trimmer and I made it a little smaller. If that makes sense. So Vicki just got to figure stuff out. Sometimes it takes me a little while. But I think what you would do, right, like that, and then you'd flip it and finish it. Totally like that. If you need the extra length, if that makes sense. I say that a lot. Did you notice that? If that makes sense. If that doesn't make sense, sorry about that. Right? And then you'd flip it. Oh my goodness, this is going to be so pretty. I'm sad I lost my gold, but... And then you fold it, but I'm going to show you how I cheated because I needed it to go a little deeper. Don't lose your bits. You need these things, right? So that you remember, because that's me. I can't, I need to do it and look at it 12 times, right? To figure out what I'm doing. But I did come in, put it on the well of my trimmer, and I want it to be a little narrower than what it was originally intended, because it needs to fit in that tool. So I just went and made it a little shallower. Oh, this is going to be the prettiest thing ever, if I do say so myself. Right? So let me do that side, and I will show you the first of my little taggy books. Pockety thingies. Pockety. Okay. Because it needs to come in a little bit smaller or it won't fit in my wagon. How are we doing out there? Thank you for so many of you that are still sticking around with how late it is. So then just decide what you want on the front or the back of that fold. This one's going to come up. And then we can decide, do I want that or do I want that? I think I want that. I'm going to leave that as the top one. Okay. And now I'm going to adhere it. And now I have a pocket that will go in my what is this thing called? Sleigh. So all I did was just adjust to make sure I could fold that a little deeper. So I will. One more cheat. It's late in California. Is it later in California? It is in my part of the world. It is 10:24. What time is it in? Isn't it earlier there? And I'm sure some of you have ducked out at this point now, right? Because this is a long one. I have a hard time. Rushing through. It's just not my nature, right? When we're making the art. So I'm just pulling it in a little tighter so that it will fit my book. Or not my book, you know what I'm trying to say. But it is late here, right? And then decide I want that as the top flap. This is the bottom. Test one more time. See, this is what happens. Because if I'm by myself, right, I'd be like, well, it doesn't fit. I'm just going to score again. When you guys are watching live, it is like, okay, is she ever going to be finished? It eventually I will, but it has to fit in my little container, or that's no bueno. So let's pull that in a little deeper. There we go. Burnish. Do it on this side. Pull it in a little deeper. I think this will be better. There we go. Burnish. And I will show you it finished now because I'm going to commit. Okay. So then I just take my tape runner, put a little bit of adhesive there, close it, right? And then adhesive at the top. And I have now, look at that. How pretty is that? So you could do that with the envelope board, but I love this. So I'll probably put my art on the front of it and then leave the back. But that is going to look really pretty, right? Jill, the sleigh I bought at Target last year, but you could use just like a gift box, right? Just anything, go to your Dollar Tree or see how pretty is this, friends? Like imagine if you sent a card in gel plated envelopes, or doing your card making on these, like you said about layering. Like look how pretty that as the background is. So, so pretty. So when I go to finish this one, I will embellish it with my embellishments, like with, I have, just so you guys want to see how I keep my stuff. So I bought this at Michael's. So I'm going to show you. So on the front of it, it says North Pole Sleigh Reindeer Delivery. Can I bring my camera down? So you're going to see the mess that is all over my room, but I'm all right with it. So see how this looks? Can you guys see that? And then I put all of my items that I'm using for my little envelope project. And so I'm going to use that first one that we just did. That first one is going to be, I probably might use these a couple times, to be honest with you, what we did tonight. This might show up in multiple tags, and I think a lot of our stuff could, but this will be one of them in there, right? It will go in. And my color palette is going to be blue, red, green, and yellow. And that fits much better now, right? And it will go in there, and I have numbers, and I'm going to number them from 1 to 12. So every single one of them. And then what I'm going to do is put a paper inside that I can put photos, or you could put journaling if you wanted to use this as a journaling thing. But I absolutely love that. And this one I will end up embellishing. I'm going to put a mat on the front and then layer embellishments. And then I will do a second tag using one of our backgrounds will be cut out. But see, we could use this multiple times, right? And then the other thing I'm going to show you, if you feel like sticking around, because why not make a Friday Night Live that is like 12 hours long? is I will take, you could put this through your your silhouette, or you could put it through your silhouette, or you could put it through your, what is the other one? Cricut. Any of these backgrounds, and you could do a title. You could do lots of things, but let me show you this because I think this will be easy. Some stars. Let's just do some stars out of this. And then this is what I will end up creating my project with. So when you're like, what do you do with these things? Bases for layouts, a mat for a photo. I have to find some smaller stars, but we'll use these two, right? So let's pick one of these backgrounds. So we will cut a piece of this. Right? And we could die cut some stars out of it. I don't think I have this on the plate fully, so watch what I have to do. Because that did not cut. There. And we'll see, because I have not tested this to make sure. This Big Shot is a new one. So I just want to make sure it actually cut. They did. Look. So now when you take that and you put it in a pattern and you have contained funk, how pretty is that? You could do a whole card or layout with stars and shapes all cut out of your different backgrounds. Like, look at it out of that one. And I think sewing on this would be magical, to be honest with you. If you went and stitched all over these and added that extra layer of texture, would be beautiful. So just pick where the pattern is really kind of distressed and do that. Yeah, these magic mats through, oh, I could have cut 2 stars, sorry. Through scrapbook.com are magic. If you have a die that you have a really hard time, it's a super detailed die and it's not cutting very well, I need some new plates. I love this magic mat. The stuff just cuts through things like butter. How pretty is that? So let's do another one with all that pattern. And then I'll do another one here. There and there. And then the other thing we can use is we can use the positive and negative of that, right? I love the magic mat. Yeah, I love scrapbook.com because they're just good people, my friends, you know. A lot of those smaller companies, Cherry on Top and Simon Says Stamps, are super fabulous. So look at, for this now, look at how pretty those are. And we could totally layer them on one of the projects. I love that. Totally love that. So that's what I'm saying. And then guess what I have here now? I could cut this and make a shaker box, right? Where you use your positive and negative, and that could go on a card. I love that. So that could be cut. I don't even know what size I cut. So let's see what this is. Eek. This one is a 4 3/4. So we'd have to figure it out, but you get what I'm saying, right? And not every, you could make your own card size that you want. Just going to cut a 6, but that could totally be a shaker box, couldn't it? We'll see you later, Jan. I'm wrapping it up now too, but I'll film whatever I create now, at least one of them, so that I can share that. But how fabulous was that tonight? That was, I have to say, just for the pure joy of making, my friends. And I'm hoping you see it. You can follow me and not be a scrapbooker or a card maker. You could take any of this art and make beautiful projects, or just enjoy the process of gel plate printing and never do anything with your prints, right? You don't have to do anything with any of it. There's no rules, especially if you play with me. I'm not going to give you any kind of rules for the art that you create, because to me, it's personal and it should just make you happy. So if you're making it and you're a card maker and that makes you happy, yay, perfect. You're doing exactly what you need to be doing. If you do it just for the process of making and you don't even care if you ever use this stuff, you're doing exactly what you need to be doing. Hi, how are you? So I thoroughly enjoyed that tonight. That was so much fun. I have 12 million prints, 12,000,001 prints, but I love them. I just love doing it. I wouldn't even care if I made anything. Just what we did tonight would be enough for me. I just like the whole playing with pattern, playing with paint, playing with texture, layering, ghost prints is everything. It's magic. So I have to get, do you have a gel plate yet, Karen? Because I carry the two, the 8x10 and the 12x12, because they're the two that are my favorite to use, right? Because sometimes I want to do big, huge backgrounds. You could frame this. This could be artwork. I have ideas. So there's some things that I want to do, but totally love that. When I'm going to sit down and gel plate, that's all I'm going to do. I don't gel plate and then make a project, because it's a lot of cleanup and mess. I just want to sit and pull prints. So your biggest thing is you need a ton of paper. Which one do you use more? Well, I use the 8x10 a lot because I teach with it. And I love that I can use 8.5x11 paper. But if I want a 12x12 background, then I use the bigger plate, right? I have all the things waiting to be used. Yes. And now it's just finding a minute to do it. So tonight, my friends, was gel plate printing, which was number 2 in the Vicky's creative or holiday creative series, or whatever I'm calling it. But there are going to be 6 of these. So next Wednesday will be the next one. And it's on my list somewhere, but I don't have it in front of me, so I don't remember. But it's going to be awesome. I will go and post as soon as I hang up with you guys, get off of here, shut it down, is on my Facebook artist page. Do not post on the community group page, just a random post. You need to put your comment underneath the giveaway that is the plaid border, and we'll have all the stencils and the glaze and the Vicky Bouton art wedge. That's where you need to leave a comment. Also, as soon as I'm done here on YouTube, on the regular section of comments underneath the video, make sure you give the video a thumbs up, that you are subscribed and following on my YouTube and Facebook if you are over there. And then just leave a comment, whatever you enjoyed about tonight, or what your favorite color pattern. Just talk to me, and I will enter you in for a chance to win prize pack number 2. There will be 6 prize packs, 6 videos, and every single one has a little bit something different to offer. So definitely go and leave a comment, and have a wonderful weekend. And I will see you on Wednesday for the next part. And I'll work on the tag and envelope. Oh, next week is tags and envelopes. So it's going to be interactive. So we're going to do that kind of tag thing, but with an interactive portion. So I'm thinking it's going to be like a fold out, so we could do multiple photos that ties in a bow or something special. So next week will be some kind of mixed media, and then we're going to do an interactive bit with it. Okay, so thank you so much. Have a wonderful weekend, and I'll see you on Wednesday for number 3 in the series. So we'll see you later, friends. Bye. Thanks, Nat, too, and happy birthday, friend.